that our God is a God who practices what he preaches. He doesn't call us to give up everything to him without being willing to give up everything for us. Because the whole story of the Exodus is just a foreshadowing of what's to come. You may not realize this, but hundreds of years after this Exodus moment, in a city not too far away called Jerusalem, there was another plague of darkness and another plague of the death of the firstborn son. Only this time it was not Pharaoh's son, it was the father's son. I want you to turn over to the book of Matthew, chapter 27. I want you to see this. I want you to understand what the book of Exodus is trying to teach us. Matthew chapter 27, verses 45 to 50. Listen to what it says. Verse 45, the plague of darkness. It says, "Now from the 6th hour, there was darkness over all the land until the 9th hour." So it's not 3 days, it's 3 hours of darkness, but it's the plague of darkness. And then what comes right after it? The death of the firstborn. Look at verse 46. "And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, 'Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani,' which is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And some of the bystanders hearing it said, "This man is calling Elijah." And one of them at once ran and took a sponge, filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. But the other said, "Wait, let's see whether Elijah will come to save him." And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice, and he yielded up his spirit. And in that moment, the firstborn of God, the only begotten, breathes out his last, and he dies. And what you discover in the New Testament is the plague of darkness and the plague of the firstborn. But this time, the firstborn dies not because of the sin of his father, but because of the love of his father. Because the father says, "My child, there is no way these people I've created are ever going to be redeemed. My wrath is going to have to fall on somebody. Son, I'm going to put my wrath upon you." And the father allows his own son to be the one to go up. Pharaoh didn't have a choice. His own sin demanded that his son be murdered. But the father had a choice, and he chose to let his own son be murdered on a cross to redeem us. What fuels God is not hate or death, it is love. So much so that he's willing to take the plague upon himself, to turn his face, to make his own son cry out, my God, Daddy, where are you?" And the father wouldn't even look as he watched his own son die to absorb the plague. Our God is a loving God. And he's demanded of us that we trust him, but not without reason. He demands that we hold nothing back from us because he's held nothing back from us. He doesn't want us to hold back and say, "I don't trust you." He said, "Look at my gospel. Look what I've done for you. Why wouldn't you trust me?" And yet we are so thick-headed. And we hold back afraid it's going to hurt too much. "No, God, I don't want to give this to you. I don't want to feel what it's going to be like not to have this." And the whole time God is saying, "Trust me. I love you. I've proven it." Here's what I need you to hear. God will ask us to give up the things that we're most afraid to give up. Now, maybe he'll let us keep it like he did with Abraham and Isaac, and he'll test us. Sometimes he'll actually ask us to give it up. And the only way you're going to be willing to give it up is if you believe that our God is good. Our God does not want to harm you. He does not want to make you suffer for suffering's sake. He may take things out of your life because they are idols and they are going to wreck you. He may test you to expose darkness in your life. But his point is to breathe blessing and life into you. And he's just saying, would you trust me? So my question for you at the end of this is, do you trust him? What are the places in your life right now that you're scared to death he may ask you to give up? He wants to know that. I've been praying that the Spirit would speak to you right now and reveal what those things are. Where are the places? What are the things? Is it a child you don't want to let go of? Is it a career that you're scared you might lose? Is it a savings thing that you've been wanting to buy something and you're afraid God may ask you to give it up? Is it going and doing something that you don't want to do and you're scared to give it up? What is it that God is calling you to let go of? And are you willing today to say, I will hold on to it no longer? I give it to you, Lord.